At the age of 29, he was faced with the realities of sickness, old age, and death. Then he began to question himself, what is this relevance? What is this life? So he knew that, he realized that wealth and luxury did not guarantee happiness. So he explored and studied the then available philosophy. He went to different teachers. He spent himself in deep meditation, because that was the type of spirituality proposed at that time, to gain freedom from the world, in the sense by negating the flesh, or severe austerity. That was the practice of the day. And he went through all that. Nothing helped. So on his own person, he realized that these extremities were not going to be of any help for him. And therefore, after so many years, he came to his realization that middle path is better, neither too extreme nor too lax, the golden middle. And then he was enlightened. He sat under a pipal tree and resolved himself that he was not going to get up from there till he found an answer to the questions he was troubled with. Why there is sorrow in the world? Why there is sorrow in the world? And all his continuous search had been an answer to that. So he became enlightened, and he found an answer to the basic question which was in his mind: why there is sorrow in the world? What causes it? Is there a way or a remedy of that? Now, was Buddha a god? Because it has become a religion, and every religion has its affinity or its a proposal to Godhead. And was Buddha a god? He was not. Nor did he claim to be. He was a man who taught a path of enlightenment from his own experience. So he never claimed that he was a god. Only later on, his followers or those disciples made him equal to God. He never would agree for that. Do Buddhists worship idols? Buddhists sometimes pay respect to images of Buddha, not in worship, nor to ask for favors. A statue of Buddha with hands rested gently in his lap and a compassionate smile reminds us to strive to develop peace and love within ourselves. Bowing to the statue is an expression of gratitude for the teaching. So the question about any religion you take, there is a lot of rituals, worship, and such aspects. So is Buddhism a religion in that way, that there is a God, Buddha himself is a God or not? So he never claimed. It's only later on, the development of Buddhism, that it happened to be that. So in fact, the real idea behind Buddhism, it's a philosophy, it's a way of life, it's a thought, and that is being or strengthening the person, the self-awareness. So Buddhists sometimes pay respect to images of Buddha, not in worship, nor to ask favors. A statue of Buddha with his hands gently resting in his lap and a compassionate smile reminds us to strive to develop peace and love within ourselves. Bowing to a statue is an expression of gratitude for the teaching which he has imparted. A person who was striving for 30 long years of search in order to have an answer to the question why there is suffering in the world. Now, why so many Buddhist countries poor? There is a question which is asked. why so many countries which follow Buddhism are very poor? One of the Buddhist teaching is that wealth does not guarantee happiness, and also wealth is impermanent. The people of every country suffer, whether rich or poor, but those who really look after or seek after the wealth, they have got more trouble with it. So according to the precepts of Buddhism, what is this phenomenal world which we see, in which we experience so many things? They are insufficient and impermanent. So going after them, it is like a chase after them, will lead us into more and more bondage than real release. Now, are there different types of Buddhism? There are many different types of Buddhism because the emphasis changes from country to country due to customs and culture. What does not vary is the essence of the teaching, the Dhamma or the truth. So there are different Tibetan Buddhism, Nepal Buddhism, Indian Buddhism, different land it has, or wherever it has gone, it has taken the cultural aspects of the land and has also assimilated certain aspects of that, and there is difference. But the teachings of Buddha continue without a change. So there are different types of Buddhism. So we are going in a nutshell just to have a glance over Buddhism. What is Buddhism and what is the main precepts of Buddhism? Then we will deal in detail about the philosophy and all the other aspects. Are other religions wrong? What is the attitude of Buddhism towards religion? Buddhism is only it's a philosophy, a way of life. And what is its relation to? So many religions are there in India, in the whole of world, there are so many. Buddhism is also a belief system which is tolerant to all other beliefs of religion. Buddhism agrees with the moral teaching of other religions, but Buddhism goes further, providing a long-term purpose within our existence through wisdom and a true understanding. Real Buddhism is very tolerant and not concerned with the labels like Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Sikh or Buddhist. That is why there have never been any wars fought in the name of Buddhism. That's why Buddhists do not preach and try to convert, only explain if explanation is sought. So it is a aspect of that is a philosophy, it's a love of wisdom, and that is a philosophical bent of mind. If you can accept those philosophy or the thinking pattern, and if you are only convinced, then you become a Buddhist. So with regard to the relation to other religions, Buddhism accepts the moral teachings of all the religion, the beliefs of or other religions. Buddhism agrees with the moral teachings of other religion, but Buddhism goes further by providing a long-term purpose within our existence through wisdom and true understanding. So once you really realize the real nature of the phenomenal world, then you will stop going after them or chasing after them. The world outside what you see. So they are, according to Buddhism, impermanent things that cannot give you the lasting happiness. Still, human desire is so much, or craving is so much, Trishna. So man is full of desires, bundle of desires. Hardly one desire is fulfilled, another one springs up. So it goes on and on, continuously it is. So we are trying to fulfill one desire after the other, not knowing that this is not going to take me to the permanent happiness. The world outside, the world, the phenomenal world as it appears to me, what I understand, what I see is that certain things, and in a false way or false notion I have to that, and I attach the permanency to this, and I want to possess. The more I possess, the more is my want. Never I am satisfied. If I have 10 rupees today, I am not satisfied with that. I will try to multiply that. 10 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 80, 80 to 160, and my want goes on and on without a limit. So there is not a time when I say, I have enough. So that is the nature of the human mind, trying to amass all the more. Now, the question which Buddha puts is that going to give you a permanent happiness? Is that going to satiate you in the end? So therefore, it's a philosophy which is telling you, that is the thought, what is the reality in the phenomenal world? Next question we can see, is Buddhism scientific? Is there anything that we can verify in Buddhism? Science is knowledge which can be made into system, which depends upon seeing and testing facts and stating general and natural laws. So science has got observation, experimentation, then after so many types of experimentation and observation only, you come to a general law, the conclusion of that. So this can be applied very well to Buddhism. The core of Buddhism fits into this definition because the Four Noble Truths can be tested and proven by anyone. In fact, the Buddha himself asked his followers to test the teaching rather than accept his words as true. Buddhism depends more on understanding than faith. So there is no blind faith here in Buddhism. It is more of an understanding the person, understanding his behavior, understanding the situation, and then what actually the phenomenal world is. So it is more insistence on man's ability to grasp or understand. So a few things which we have seen, what's Buddhism, where it originated, what's the difference, or why that is becoming more popular, why this Buddhistic lands where Buddhism has developed, they remain so, countries so poor. Are there different types of Buddhism? Then are other religions, what is the relationship of Buddhism to other religions? Is Buddhism scientific? So all this we can say that we can apply the principle of observation, experimentation, and then come to a conclusion. Very well we can apply this aspect, the scientific aspects, to Buddhism because it is a philosophy which tells about the truth about how a man can free himself from the bondage or the clutches of the apparent or the unreal world. What did Buddha teach? What did he teach? The Buddha taught many things, but the basic concept of Buddhism can be summed up by the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path, which are called Ashtanga Marga. So what Buddha taught, or after his enlightenment, he came to the realization why there is sorrow, what is the cause of this sorrow, and is there any way out of this situation of being sorrowful, or everything looks to be in a state of unhappiness, why there is unhappiness in the world. So what did he teach? He taught the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path, or the Ashtanga Marga. The first noble truths, the first noble truth tells us that life is suffering. The first noble truth is that the life is suffering, sarvam dukkhamaya. Life includes pain, getting old, disease, and ultimately death. We also endure psychological suffering like loneliness, frustration, fear, embarrassment, disappointment, and anger. This is an irrefutable fact and cannot be denied. It is realistic rather than pessimistic because pessimism is expecting things to be bad. Instead, Buddhism explains how suffering can be avoided and how can one be truly happy. As I said, happiness is the ultimate goal of every human being. Buddhism also advocates for that happiness is going to be yours, provided that you are able to really, in your wisdom and understanding, really grasp what is this phenomenal world. So the first noble truth is that life is suffering. There is suffering in the life. So the birth is a suffering, want of something is suffering, something which you want for and you're not able to get it, that causes suffering. So there are so many, that is, we need not, we can just see, look around and see how many types of suffering in the world. So the first noble truth, there is suffering in the life. What is the second noble truth? The second truth is that suffering is caused by craving and aversion. So what is the cause of suffering? If there is, that is the cause and effect. If there is a result which we see is the suffering. So what is the cause of the suffering? And he goes into tell that the cause of the suffering is the craving, trishna, and the aversion. We will suffer if we expect other people to conform to our expectation, if we want others to be like us, if we want to get something we want, or if you do not get something which we want. In other words, getting what you want and does not guarantee the happiness. So the first principle which he tells that possession of the material wealth or the luxury is not going to give you the ultimate happiness. That is, on his own person he experienced that. He was grown up or fully immersed in luxurious life in the palace. So he never knew what was the other side of life as such. What is sorrow, what is sickness, what is old age, what is death, and all that. He had no idea because he was kept away from all that till he himself confronted these three aspects or in his own person, which made him to think, what is this sickness? What is this old age? Why there is death? So all these things seems to be something very, very true. At the same time, a search for the reason why it is so. So that's what brings to the second noble truth, that there is what is the reason for this suffering, that is the desire or trishna is the cause of the suffering. And what is the third noble truth? The third noble truth is that suffering can be overcome. Suffering can be overcome and happiness can be attained. That true happiness and contentment are possible. If we give up useless craving and learn to live each day at a time, not dwelling in the past or imagined future, then we can become happy and free. We then have more time and energy to help others. This seems to be called the nirvana. So the third noble truth telling us that suffering can be overcome and happiness can be attained. So there is a cessation of the suffering. There can be ways in which that we can put an end to that, and true happiness and contentment are possible. So we are coming near to the goal that man's search is for happiness. How can I be happy? What gives me that permanent happiness? So then we can become happy and free. We then have we then have more time and energy to help others. What is the fourth noble truth?